The Sarbanes-Oakley Act of 2002 came in response to a financial scandal in the early 2000s involving publicly traded companies such as Enron Corporation, Tyco International plc, and the WorldCom. The high-profile fraud shook investors' confidence in the trustworthiness of corporate financial statements and led many to demand an overhaul of decades-old regulatory standards. The act led to significant reforms in the content and preparation of disclosure documents by public companies. A social audit is a formal review of companies' endeavors, procedures, and code of conducts regarding social responsibility and the company's impact on society. A social audit is an assessment of how well the company is achieving its goals or benchmark for social responsibility. Ideally, companies aim to strike a balance between profitability and social responsibility. Hence, a social audit is an internal examination of how a particular business is affecting society. It helps companies to determine if they are meeting their objectives, which may include measurable goals and benchmarks. Social audit serves as a way for a business to see if the actions being taken are being positively or negatively received and relates that information to the company's overall public image. In a social audit, an organization reviews how well it's meeting its ethical and social responsibility goals and communicates its new goals for the upcoming year. This information is shared with employees, shareholders, investors, market analysts, customers, suppliers, government agencies, and the communities in which the organization operates. For example, each year, Intel prepares its corporate responsibility report, which summarizes the firm's progress towards meeting its ethical and CSR goals. In 2011, they focused on goals in three primary areas. Number one, the environment, which targets sets for global warming emissions, energy consumption, water use, chemical and solid waste reduction, and product energy efficiency. The second is corporate governance, with the goal to improve transparency and strengthen ethics and compliance reporting. And lastly, social, with goals to improve the organizational health of the company as measured by its own organization health survey. This is to expand their number of suppliers audit and to increase the number of community education programs. The ancient Greek philosopher believed that the personal conviction about right and wrong behavior could be improved through education. Lawrence Kohlberg, the late Harvard psychologist, found out that many factors stimulate a person's moral development, but one of the most crucial is education. Other researchers may repeatedly supported the idea that people can continue their moral development through further education, such as working through case studies and examining contemporary issues. For ethical criteria in employees' appraisal, managers can help employees to meet performance expectations by monitoring employees' behavior and providing feedback. Increasingly, managers are including ethical conduct as a part of employees' performance appraisal. Those that do so base a portion of their employees' performance evaluation on treating others fairly, with respect, operating effectively in a multicultural environment, accepting personal accountability for meeting business needs, continually developing others and themselves, and operating openly and honestly with suppliers, customers, and other employees. These factors are considered along with the more traditional criteria used in performance appraisals, such as an employee overall contribution to moving the business ahead, successful completion of projects and tasks, and maintenance of good customer relations. This is an example of a manager's checklist for establishing ethical work environment. For most employees, they want to perform their jobs successfully and ethically. But good employees sometimes make bad ethical choices. Employees in highly competitive workplace often feel pressure from aggressive competitors, cutthroat suppliers, unrealistic budget, unforgiving quotas, tight deadlines, and bonus incentives. Employees may also be encouraged to do whatever it takes to get the job done. In such environment, some employees may feel pressure to engage in an unethical conduct to meet management's expectations, especially if the organization has no corporate code of ethics and no strong example of senior management practicing ethical behavior. The virtue ethics approach to decision making focuses on how you should behave and think about relationship if you are concerned with your daily life in a community. It does not define a formula for ethical decision making, but it suggests that when faced with a complex ethical dilemma, people do either what they are most comfortable doing or what they think a person they admire would do. For the utilitarian approach, this is an approach to ethical decision making that states that you should choose the action or policy that has the best overall consequence for all people who are directly or indirectly affected. The goal is to find a single greatest good by balancing the interests of all affected parties. Utilitarian fits easily with the concept of value in economics and the use of cost benefit analysis in business. Business managers, legislators, and scientists weigh the benefits and harm of policies when deciding whether to invest resources in building a new plant in a foreign country, to enact a new law, or to approve a new prescription drug. The fairness approach focuses on how fairly action and policies distribute benefits in the burden among people affected by the decision. The guiding principle of this approach is to treat all people the same. However, decision made with this approach can be influenced by personal bias without the decision makers even being aware of their bias. If the intended goal is an action or a policy is to provide benefit to a target group, other affected groups may consider this decision unfair. The common good approach to decision making is based on a vision of society as a community whose members work together to achieve a common set of values and goals. Decision and policies that use this approach attempt to implement social systems, institutions, and environments that everyone depends on and that benefits all people. Examples include an effective education system, a safe and efficient transportation system, and accessible as well as affordable health care. The common good approach has the potential complications. People clearly have different ideas about what constitutes the common good, which makes consensus difficult. In addition, maintaining the common good often requires some group to bear greater costs than others. For instance, homeowners pay property taxes to support public schools, but apartment dwellers do not. The growth of the internet, the ability to capture and store vast amount of personal data, and a greater reliance on the information system in all aspects of life have increased the risk of information technology that will be used unethically. In the midst of many IT breakthroughs in recent years, the importance of ethics and human values has been underemphasized with a range of consequences. Some examples that raise public concern about the ethical use of information technology are as follows. Millions of people have downloaded music and movies at no charge in apparent violation of copyright laws. Organizations contact millions of people worldwide through unsolicited email or what we call spam as an extremely low cost marketing approach. There are cases wherein hackers break into databases for financial and retail institutions to steal customer information, then use it to commit identity theft. It opens new accounts and charging purchases to unexpected victims. Students around the world have been caught downloading materials from the web and plagiarizing content for their term papers. Finally, websites plant cookies or spyware on violators' hard drive to track their online purchases and activities. Overall, as a takeaway for this chapter, public needs to develop a better understanding of the critical importance of ethics as it applies to IT. Currently, too much emphasis is placed on technical issues. Unlike most conventional tools, IT has a profound effect on society. IT professionals and end users need to recognize this fact when they formulate policies that will have a legal ramifications and affect the well-being of millions of customers.